Let's talk about all things happening in the world of sports. From the latest Saints moves to all that happens in college football, along with in-depth interviews and much more. It's time for Sports Chat with George Faust.
Well, hi, hello, welcome into Sports Chat. I'm George Faust. Thanks so much for spending some time with us this week. We appreciate that. This week, I got a treat for y'all as we are going to chat with Eric Zartler. He is the Executive Director for Lake Charles Regional Sports Authority. And Eric joins us now. Eric, first off, great to see you, my friend.
Great to see you too,
It's been
brother.
way too long.
Absolutely.
Eric and I, full disclosure, we worked together back in Lake Charles in, 2001-ish?
Yeah. 2001.
Yeah. So, it's been a long time, but we've kept in touch. Obviously, it's easy now with texting and Facebook and
That's right.
Messenger, whatever. However,
I even shot a few stand-ups for you when you came to Lake Charles.
Correct.
Back
A couple years ago,
That's
I was by myself, and I was like, "Hey, I actually have the picture of you and I chat. You're shooting the stand-up for me. It's like old times."
That's right.
But it's really cool to see you. Thanks so much for making the trip here to Lafayette and talking a little bit about what's going on. Is March Madness. It's back. I think I asked Eric how many years has it been, and he just sent me a picture of all the banners.
13.
This is 13. All right.
13.
So the 13th year, it's underway. It's at Burton Coliseum. That's used to be where McNeese played back when I was there, and for a long time. And then they built the nice stadium that they have now,
Townsley Law Arena.
There you go. All right. Sorry.
Right.
But no, it's really cool to see how when I go back. I mean, my daughter cheers at Notre Dame High School, and we went there for a cheer thing over the summer last year.
Right.
And I was like, man, they didn't have this when I was here.
No.
McNeese didn't have this cool facility. But it's definitely grown, and Lake Charles is booming. And you guys are a part of that with regards to what you guys do in the, I guess you're part of the tourism department, right?
Correct. We're a division of Visit Lake Charles.
Gotcha. Yes. Okay. So you have that going on, but your ability to be able to host the state high school boys basketball championships have done wonders. Tell me a little bit about how that came about, I guess, initially, and
Sure.
then as it's progressed. I mean, 13 years here.
Absolutely. So 2012 is actually the first time we actually hosted any part of this. If you remember back then, LHSA had that regional semifinal, and then they went to Ruston and Monroe for the finals.
I remember
back then. So for those 2 years, we hosted those at the Lake Charles Civic Center at the time, which is now the Lake Charles Event Center, so I don't get in trouble and
I got you
and say that wrong. 2014 opportunity came along for us to bid for the LHSA championships the way they used to do it, with the Sweet 16, the top 28 format. And we presented a bid for both girls and boys, and we were successful in doing that. So we hosted back-to-back weeks of March Madness at the time, and
so you had both of them.
we had both girls and boys
right.
for a number of years.
Okay,
and before the girls took off back to Alexandria, and then back
to
Lake Charles.
One year was in Monroe. I remember I had to drive all the way up to Monroe. And
sorry about that. We try to keep it down here,
Well, they ended up going. I used to drive to Hammond all the time, and then it got all messed up. But anyway, so you guys hosted for. Both of them.
We hosted both of them for a number of years, and then they went to Alexandria. We ended up getting the girls back for a couple of years, and then they went to Hammond.
Gotcha.
2020 with the whole COVID, 2021 technically, when COVID was still kind of rearing its ugly head.
Mm-hmm.
We hosted a portion of the girls' semifinals that year, and the Cajun Dome hosted a portion of the boys' semifinals that year. If you remember.
I remember that. Yep.
And then we had the finals for the boys that year as well. But 13 years, man, of rolling strong with the boys tournament. It's been outstanding. Get some great crowds in there, great games. Just love the excitement of it, and it's one of my favorite weeks of the year, honestly.
Yeah, it's really cool. And if you've never been, I mean, here's the thing. A lot of times, even the smaller schools, like the Midlands and the Lacassines, and those schools, they don't have anything else.
That's right.
So you play a Class B or whatever it is, state semifinal, and that place is packed. Zwali.
I was just going to say Zawali. You know, it's 2-3 games before theirs, and there's always green and yellow all over the place. You know, it's like looking at your watch, going,
they don't play for another hour.
They don't play. Yeah, we have nothing else to do. We took the day off to come here, and they make the most of it. They have a great time, man. You know, those smaller schools really they bring some energy into that building. You know, it's a big building, and they definitely pack the house. You know, I feel like they roll the sidewalks up in some of those small towns.
They probably do.
And,
right.
You know, everybody. You know, last one out, turn out the lights, and you know, it reminds me of when you see them come into town. You remember Hoosiers? You know, the bus, and then all the line of cars behind the bus. And signs on every store, closed for the game, closed for the game. You know, that's what I imagine driving through Zawali's like when they're playing, or Lacassine, or you know, any of those schools,
smaller schools,
Plainview, you know, and Glenmora and things like that. It's crazy. It's a lot of great energy, and not to take away anything from the big schools, they bring bigger crowds.
Oh yeah. No, I was going to go there in a second.
People left in their towns, you know.
Right, when Brother Martin or Carr is headed down I-10, there's still some people in Metairie or New Orleans. So I think this year it's John Curtis, Ash, and Catholic, and so Curtis is playing Catholic and Ash is playing
Edna
Carr. Yeah, right, correct. So that's going to bring a crowd. Carr's going to bring some people, I think.
They usually bring them by the busload.
Yeah, dude, it's such a. I mean, Carr's having a phenomenal year, right? Football wise, they're unbelievable, and obviously basketball, they got the talent as well. So,
and then we got Peabody and Washington Marion.
Oh
too.
Wow,
that's going to be one of
wild
those games.
Yeah. That should be so much fun to be at. Those things. And look, if you've never been to this event, I mean, it's almost like going to a college, like a big time college game.
Absolutely.
Because, or you know, even if you went to like an LSU game or something like that, where there's 10,000 people in the stands.
Sure.
I'll never forget. I mean, didn't happen in Lake Charles, but here I'll never forget. Brother Martin was playing in the state championship at the Cajun Dome back when it was the top 28, and their fans were so exuberant that
that's a good word.
But
you can't spell it.
I could actually, but I'm not going to because I don't want to make you look bad.
Okay, it's not a spelling bee.
That's right. Nobody said there'd be spelling. No, they were jumping up and down on the stands, and they actually broke the stands.
We've had that happen in the baseball championship.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So you know, it's definitely it's an event that if you're a casual fan, or it's worth going to see for sure. Obviously, over that time, you kind of learn things. Is there anything that sticks out in your mind, like, oh man, let's not do this way. Yeah. Let's do this. Let's put the media over here. This is better for them, or whatever. Like, are there lessons learned that I'll kind of go through?
Sure. There's always lessons, and we're always willing to adapt to whatever. And every year some things change. Sometimes their staff changes and they want to do things a little different. We're flexible. We'll do whatever they want. In fact, we moved the interview room back into the chocolate room this year, so. It's not anything that anybody in the stands is ever going to know about, but it's something that we know behind the scenes. The players know, the coaches know, things like that. So we're always looking to do, whatever we can to make it a better experience for the student athletes and the teams coming in, as well as the fans. Lessons every day.
Yeah,
is about all I can say. We used to have seating that went all the way down to the floor, and then we were like, this is not a good idea. Especially a couple years back, Casey Jones Jr. hit a game-winning shot at the buzzer, and the entire Wassman student section just took down the barricades and came rushing the floor. It was one of the most exciting moments I've ever seen in real life in a basketball. He hit it from half court.
Okay,
just slung it up. It was
trying to clear that was not easy.
It was not easy, and we're like, okay, maybe the student section shouldn't have so much access to the floor. Like, maybe this isn't a good thing.
Right.
So we made a couple changes there and moved the students back up to where they would actually have to hop and jump down 6 feet to get to the floor.
Right.
By that time, I think
y'all are a bunch of
law
party
enforcement
poopers,
could grab
man.
them,
Come
you
on,
know.
party.
Well,
poopers.
the rule is no, nobody on the floor. That's what they tell us. So.
I'm just messing.
Yeah, that's not our rule. But, I mean, I probably have the same rule, honestly. If
Right?
It was
No.
mine, so.
It's definitely in this day and age. You have to. I think about covering college football. One time I was covering college football. I had my girlfriend at the time, who's my wife now, but she was with me, and we're at an LSU Auburn game, and she's holding the batteries and stuff like that. She's my intern basically, and so I'm like, okay, LSU's about to win this game, and they're going to storm the field. I said, here's what we're doing: we're running straight to the middle of the field. Whatever happens. I'm going to go get you stay right on my backside, and I'll get to the center of the field. I'll get the handshake, and then we're going to bolt for the locker room. We're getting out of here. I said, because it's not going to be pretty.
How'd that work out?
Perfect.
Oh, nice.
My plan worked great because I got the handshake. Boom. Turned around. People are coming this way and we're going that way, and
wow.
it's almost like you just elbowing people, getting them out of the way. Hey, and I'm like, I made sure she was right on my back, and boom, I was pushing people out the way. We're going to and then we got to. I mean, it's only 50 yards to get to.
I didn't know you had that kind of speed.
Oh, back in the day, man. Come on, you know us there. It's just hidden a little bit.
Yeah.
In this new frame, this new frame that I have. All right, so we're chatting with Eric Zartler. He is the executive director of Lake Charles Regional Sports Authority, and they've got March Madness going on. It's an exciting time for all high school athletics with regards to basketball, because this is it. This is what you strive for in high school basketball. You want to get to that arena and play in that atmosphere. Absolutely. And have that opportunity and that experience. We're going to talk some more. We're going to take a break. We'll talk some more, a little bit more about this, about kind of what goes on during the week, because it's a lot of action, a lot of basketball taking place, and so we're going to talk about that when we come back. Don't go away. Much more Sports Chat right here on KLFY Plus.
Sports Chat with George Faust.
Welcome back to Sports Chat. George Faust. Eric Zartler is our guest this week, Executive Director of the LCRSA. That is the Lake Charles Regional Sports Authority. It's so funny to see you're. I haven't seen you in forever.
I know, and
so it's just so cool, and like. You don't understand, people. Like this guy, he and I, from the instant the first story we ever went out on at KPLC, we hit it off like that.
That's right.
And it's been it's almost like, you know how you have those friends that you don't talk to all the time, but every time you see them, it's like you pick up where you left off.
Absolutely.
That's kind of the feeling I have right here, and I'm so glad that you had an opportunity and the availability to come chat with us, especially during a busy week like March Madness going on. And so when we talk about this week, you were just saying that the cell phone never stops. You can't turn it off. You got so many things happening. Yeah. You wouldn't have it any other way, though, right? I mean, this is what you guys look forward to. This is one of the things that kind of draws you into a job like this.
Exactly. I started I hit my 18-year mark at Visit Lake Charles in March, later this month. When I started, it was just me in the sports department. And a couple years ago, we added a couple new members of the sports team just because things were growing so much, and my overtime, my comp time was going out of the roof, and it was like, I'd work 1 week and get 2 weeks off because my comp time was insane. So we got two new, Sam Moore and Aubrey Caldwell are on the team, and then we have two interns now as well. So it's kind of nice being able to sit back and watch a little more and not be in the weeds every single second of every day, but still being in the loop. This thing in my pocket right here keeps me attached to everything, and if it's not that, it's the radio in my ear or whatever. So, I'm thankful to have the team we have that it allows us to put this on. We have the Southland Conference men's and women's championships going on at the same time, a mile and a half down the road at the Townsley Law Arena at McNeese. So, crowned 12 champions this week in the sport of basketball in Lake Charles. So.
Yeah, and so when you kind of put a bid together for something like this, first off, how many years do you have to like rebid or whatever?
So it's a 2-year cycle.
A 2-year
cycle.
Okay.
So this is the final year of the 2-year contract. We'll go back in June, submit another bid to host it for 2 more years, and
do you just keep the bid that you had before, and you're like, oh, let's update the numbers?
We'll look at it a little bit, dive into it, see if there's anything more we can do to enhance the experience, and then the benefits to the LHSAA as well as the schools and the teams and fans and stuff that come in. So it's something we look at all the time.
Do you have any fear because you hosted 13 years? They're like, let's try something different. Maybe let's go to Shreveport or Is that there's a little bit of that? There's nothing you can do about it, I guess.
I'll say this, I'm never too confident.
Okay.
Even if we're the only ones submitting a bid, I'm still nervous about it. It doesn't change. We're going to put our best foot forward and let the cards fall where they will. We know what we've provided over the last 13 years for the LHSA and the student athletes and the teams, and the feedback's been great, honestly. A lot of people love coming to Lake Charles, especially over the weekend. They go stay at the casinos and, they kind of make a weekend out of it when they get to that point. Even the coaches around the state that aren't competing, we do a coaches clinic that Friday morning, before the championships start on Friday. And we'll get a bunch of coaches in from the north and the east and all over the place, just coming in and spending the rest of the weekend and making it, their Final Four, basically, experience, kind of what you would compare to a college coach.
Sure.
That goes to the Final Four every year. So they circle the date on their calendar just like we do, and we love having them.
So take me into the bid process. I mean, do you have to? What do you hand out pamphlets that say, hey, this is what we want, or this is what we think you like? What's the idea behind it? Like, how do you take me into it a little bit? You don't have to give away all your stuff.
I'm not giving you my secrets.
right. But you know what I mean? Like the process is interesting. Sure. So you have to send in, hey, we're going to do it.
So the RFP comes out. It'll probably come out in the next month or so. From the LHSA, the request for proposal.
Okay.
They'll send that out with kind of the base guidelines of what they're looking for. We need X amount of locker rooms. We need X amount of seating. We need X, Y, Z here, there, wherever.
Gotcha.
And then we get down to it. We kind of pick through that, say, okay, yep, we got all this. We're good. We sit down with the Calcasieu Parish Police Jury, who owns Burton Coliseum, gotcha. As well as the officials at Burton Coliseum. We sit down with them and say, what can we do over and above what this bid is asking for, and we sit down, we come up with a list of those things, and we start building a proposal from it, Every little bit helps, and I think we've been fair with the LHSA. They've been fair with us. We love having them in town, and, it's something that's going to continue. We have a new mayor in Lake Charles now, and Marshall Simeon. I know he's a big basketball fan. He was texting me Sunday and yesterday, all excited, especially because Washington Marion's in it. So anytime you have a local team in it, excitement gets a little bit higher.
Sure.
Yeah. I know he's on board. So that's something we're going to explore for this bid cycle, is getting some more involvement from the city of Lake Charles, because, at the end of the day, when these teams leave Burton Coliseum, or before they go to Burton Coliseum, they're in Lake Charles. They're eating in the restaurants. They're staying in the hotels. There's nothing outside of city limits, in that area. So the city of Lake Charles has a big benefit to it, huge economic impact for the area. And I think that's really something that he's going to embrace and get on board with.
Very cool. Yeah, it's fun to kind of peek behind the curtain, see how you kind of get into that process.
Absolutely.
And you guys have obviously done a great job, and they're pleased with the way you guys have done it. And to be honest with you, it's really easy. Cajun Dome's really easy. I'm not going to lie, that was really easy for us. But Lake Charles is the next best thing.
But with this Lafayette traffic, it probably takes you just as long to get to the Cajun Dome as it does to Burton, and you're 2 miles away?
You think? I don't know about that. But that's,
I might be exaggerating by
just
about
a little
30 minutes.
No, but you brought up an interesting point and something that piqued a a thing in my
thought?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Still finishing your sentences.
That's why you're here. That's why you're here. But you talk about going to the restaurants and things of that nature. I mean, Lake Charles. Look, Lafayette has some great food. I love this place. It's got phenomenal food. But there's a place in Lake Charles that when I was there, I used to frequent every time with Marty Briggs, the old sports director at KPLC. And the first time I was with him, he's like, "Hey, let's go to dinner." He just finished the sportscast and went to dinner. We go to Tony's.
Oh yeah, Tony's Pizza.
It's still there.
Still kicking.
Yeah, dude. So, but the cool thing about it was, I don't know if you know this. Every time I went there, this is not the first time,
right?
But every time I would go to Tony's, we'd walk out. And he would go, "Oh, there goes Marty Briggs, star of screen and whatever TV," and he would say that every time I was like, "Marty, you heard that?" He's like, "Yeah, dude." So I was on TV one time, for about 6 months there in Lake Charles, and I go to Tony's, I get my food, whatever. I leave, and all of a sudden I hear, "There's George Faust, star of screen and TV." I was like, "Oh yes, I made it! I made it in Lake Charles, baby."
Too bad you didn't have an iPhone back then. You could have recorded it.
Right,
so.
Exactly. I mean, can you say that again? I want to send that to my mom. Right. I want to send that to my mom. But no, that place is great, man.
Yeah.
I love that. Daryl's. We were coming through. A couple weeks ago, my son and I were doing some stuff. We drove to Sulphur and came back, and I go, "Hey, dude, we're going to lunch at Daryl's." So we're popping in. He goes, "Okay, yeah," because there used to be one in Jennings, but there's not one in Jennings anymore. Right. So, but yeah, we popped in at Daryl's and
can't go wrong.
So good, dude.
Can't go wrong.
So good.
Not at all.
Obviously, Lake Charles, and I wanted to talk with you a little bit about this. And maybe we can talk more in depth about it in the next segment. But man, it's just grown so much since since 2000. It's kind of funny when I worked in Meridian. There was nothing in Meridian, Mississippi. Nothing. That was my first full time on air job, and I'm in Meridian. There's a Bennigan's and a Popeyes, a McDonald's, and a mall. Like, I don't know how they had a mall, but they did in Meridian. And now it's grown immensely. They've got all kinds of things. They've got, Harbor Freight Tools and Home Depot. And I'm like, wow, this place is huge. But Lake Charles grew in that Nelson Road area. That was always a traffic, because they were always building it back then. Right. And now they had the Target over there. And it's like, it felt so far to get over there to get to Target. But it's funny because the casinos they always had that stuff there. There was Harrah's back in the day,
right?
But it's just grown immensely. And I mean, obviously the hurricanes hit huge, and still to this day, you guys are still dealing with all of that. So not everywhere is recovered.
That's right.
But it's still growing.
Absolutely, Lake Charles has grown by leaps and bounds. I mean, to your point, you go out Nelson Road. I mean, back when you were there and when I first moved to Lake Charles in '95, Nelson Road, there was nothing on Nelson Road. There was a McDonald's and a Stein Lumber, a daycare, a couple banks, a gas station or two. Yeah. That was really about it, you know. Yeah. And now, you go from that 210 interchange there, where there's Sam's there and a tire shop and a whole strip mall with everything you could want in it, where the Target is, and Hobby Lobby's right there, a bunch of hotels along Preon Lake Road. And, you think back, to early 2000s, late 90s, Lake Charles doesn't look anything like it did back then. Mm-hmm. Sears was downtown. Yeah. It's now an apartment complex there, and we have Sears was at the mall, until they went out of business. But it's changed so drastically. I catch myself at least a couple times a year driving past some place going, man, when I first moved here, this was just trees. Right. And now it's Jersey Mike's and chicken salad chick and things like that, or a park or whatever. So, it continues to grow. The lakefront's looking great. They added Port Wonder, with the Children's Museum, moved right there to the lake. Crying Eagle Brewing right there on the lakefront, and then a lot of good additions coming up. Really to bolster downtown, the downtown area of Lake Charles. So it's an exciting time to be in Lake Charles. It really is. A lot of great vision. Imagine SWLA as a program through the Community Foundation where they're kind of mapping out the blueprint on the future of Lake Charles. And we're not talking next year, 5 years, 10 years. This is a long-term blueprint for the rollout of what Lake Charles and all of Southwest Louisiana can look like. Kayak trails through the little bayous and the lakes and the rivers and everything else that run through there to go all over town. You can go from North Lake Charles to South Lake Charles in a kayak. That's one of the visions in Imagine SWLA.
Interesting.
That's really cool. So, it's growing every day, and I'm just excited to be along for the ride, honestly.
Good stuff. Well, we're going to talk some more. We'll take another break. We'll come back and talk some more. I want to ask you about another restaurant. One of my, I loved this restaurant when it was here in Lafayette, and it's not here anymore.
I know what you're talking about.
Do you really? All right, that's interesting. We'll see. We'll see if you're right. We'll do that when we come back on Sports Chat.
Sports Chat with George Faust.
Welcome back to Sports Chat. When we left you, we were talking about there's a restaurant that I really enjoyed here, and it went out. I don't know if they went out of business because I think they're probably still around. They just left Lafayette, and so Eric thinks he knows what it is. Eric Zartler is our guest, Lake Charles Regional Sports Authority. He's the executive director. They've got the March Madness tournament for the 13th year. They're doing a great job with that, making it quite the experience for the high school basketball athlete and all the fans and just the full experience. There's so much to do. As we were just talking about, Lake Charles has grown by leaps and bounds, and so one of those things we were talking about, some of the better restaurants or the restaurants that I enjoy, and one was Tony's, the pizza place there that serves some great lasagna. That's what I always get when I go there.
Yes.
So I go there for the lasagna. I don't.
Thought you went for the salad.
Yeah, well, I do get a salad. It's a
Little house salad.
Yeah, little side salad, Oh, exactly. But so you think the restaurant that I'm talking about, but
Have two in mind.
Okay.
And
so I'll tell you that it's a chain restaurant because it was here in Lafayette, and we used to go there after 1st and 10 back in the day. We would go there because it was one of the only places that was open at that like 11 o'clock, 11:30 at night. Anyway.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That late, huh?
Yeah.
That adds a whole new dimension to it.
Yeah.
Does it start with an O?
It does.
Oh, Charlie's?
Yes.
Yes! First guess.
Is it still there?
No. No. Oh, Charlie's shut down shortly after the hurricane. They reopened after the hurricane for a while, and then they moved out. It was most recently Paradise Daiquiris.
Okay.
And then it was supposed to be a Twin Peaks, which I know y'all lost one here as well.
Yeah, they had one here, yeah.
And then it was like, no, it's not going to be that. Then there was rumor that it was going to be a Lone Star Steakhouse. Is that right?
There's Lone Star, Longhorn.
Longhorn Steakhouse it was going to be. And then I heard just recently
so it's nothing
you
right
go down
now?
No, it's empty right now.
Okay.
You go down that social media rabbit hole of all the experts that know everything what's going on.
Right.
So somebody posted the other day, Twin Peaks is happening again. And I was like, come on, man. Quit
No, it's
teasing
not.
us. Stop.
Hooters is coming.
You know what's going to come there? Whatever opens next time they open the doors. That's where I'm at with that. Quit guessing.
Yeah.
I'm
But you're
reading
you're in the know of that. Like people you'll know what's coming.
Oh yeah,
eventually.
absolutely. We'll know. Once they get their permits pulled to start updating the building and stuff like that. Yeah.
Well,
it's not O'Charlie's anymore.
Yeah. So you want me to tell you why I loved O'Charlie's?
Go ahead.
Okay. So when you go to O'Charlie's, they have some the jalapeno cheese bites they're shaped in a triangle.
Yeah, I remember those.
Nowhere else does them like O'Charlie's.
Really?
Nowhere else. The cheese at other places when you pull it out, it sticks. It goes long.
Yeah.
The cheese at O'Charlie's did not do that. You could eat the jalapeno cheese bite, and it was the best. That was their.
So it wasn't stringy?
No.
Are you sure it was cheese?
I don't care. It tasted like cheese. It was good.
Dang.
It was good.
All right.
Yeah. No. It was a triangle.
Well, you need to come to Lake Charles and hit Area 337 and get their fried cheese. They do them in little cubes.
Okay.
And there's no string. I call it squeaky cheese because like you bite it and it's not breaded or anything. It's like pan fried cubes of cheese. It's phenomenal. Dude.
Really?
You would go crazy if you like that.
All right.
You love this.
All right. Yeah. I think you just invited me, and you're
That's
paying.
right. I'm paying. My buddy Gus Gordon will hook us up. So.
That's good stuff. No, but yeah. So O'Charlie's, we used to go. First and 10 would end. We'd do all the stuff we did, like a post game wrap up, all that stuff, and then we'd go. We'd all hit O'Charlie's, and because it was the only place that was open. Yeah. That or Bennigan's, which doesn't exist anymore either.
Hasn't been around for a while.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but we'd hit up O'Charlie's, man. It was such a cool little experience, and then Anyway, there you go. The restaurant portion of the show.
I do miss Twin Peaks being here, by the way, because their pot roast was phenomenal.
Okay,
my wife will attest to the fact that I do go there for the pot roast.
Well, the funny thing is, like, I'd only been there twice, I think, and then it was like disappeared.
No.
But speaking of restaurants that just disappear, my all-time favorite restaurant is Semolina's. You ever?
Oh, yeah.
Semolina's was one of my all-time favorites.
Absolutely.
And just can't beat the pasta jambalaya. No. That pasta jambalaya was phenomenal.
Yep.
And they don't exist anymore.
I know.
It's tough.
Sad.
Yeah, I know.
Find something good, find something you like, and it's gone.
It's gone. It's gone. But hopefully the March Madness will not disappear. You guys will rebid for it. In all the time you've been doing it, I mean, there's got to be some, like, you build relationships and things of that nature. I mean, do you? Yeah, I don't know. Is there a relationship that you've kind of cultivated over the years that's been, one that you're like, I'm glad I met this guy or whatever?
There's been several.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Mitch Small, former marketing director of the LHSA, comes to mind. He and I still talk regularly. Actually, in a group chat with he and Danny Broussard, head basketball coach at St. Thomas More, who's another one that I've met through this process. Sure. When we hosted in 2012, when we hosted the regional semifinal, was one of the first times I actually had conversation with Danny. I knew of him. I saw him in passing at different things and say hi. But the first time I actually had a conversation, I'll never forget, we're standing on the corner of the court. And I said, Coach, what you think? He goes, it's not going to be good. Which, if you've talked to him 1,000 times, it's never going to be good. You could be undefeated and playing a team that hasn't won a game yet, but it's not going to be good. Yeah. So,
that's so true.
Sorry, Danny.
No, don't be sorry. He knows. He's been in that chair right there. He knows.
Did you have a booster seat here? Sorry. I can say that on here because I say it to his face.
Great.
So.
That's great. No, I'm sure
I was telling him he must be this tall to win a state championship in Louisiana. So it's just
like going on a ride at Disney.
Absolutely. So, but no, Danny's been a great friend. He's helped me out a lot tremendously. I feel like I've returned that favor to him, and we've been great friends. I remember we were standing on the corner of that floor, and when he's telling me, it's not good. It's not good. These guys can't walk and chew gum. I don't know how we keep winning games. They can't walk and chew gum. So, So the cheerleaders had their little paper thing out there, and the players go to run through it, and the first player trips over the side of the court.
Oh, no.
And busts through the paper, and then they did a pile-up, and he looks at me and goes, see what I'm talking about? And they went out there. They won the game by like 20.
Wow.
And at the end of the game, I was like, well, they won. He's like, I have no idea. You saw him in the beginning. But a tremendous guy, love him to death. Chris Kovach over at Karen Crow has become a great friend over the years, and can't say enough about those guys. Eric Held, who used to be at the LHSA, the Coaches Association, now at LSU football. Those are some of the guys. Eddie Bonine, executive director of the LHSA. those are people that have just, made an impact in my life and my career. I know I can call any of those guys at any time and, bounce something off of them or just, call them and talk and shoot the bull,
Yeah.
So it's been awesome making some of those friendships and long-term relationships through this process, as well as even just local people who I didn't know before this. We have a volunteer program that's phenomenal. We have a bunch of retired educators that come out and serve as our team hosts, and met a lot of those people that I never knew before or got to know them a little better because I only knew them a little bit. So it's been a awesome experience, expanded the network of people I can rely on, and they can rely on me as well. It's a mutual friendship. I'll share a quick Danny story. My daughter's taking her praxis, I think that's what they call it, when she goes to become a teacher, and
Gotcha.
she was taking it here at UL. Well, I came off of a cruise in New Orleans, driving through, stopped and met her for lunch, checked her into a hotel, so she had her hotel that Sunday night. Could wake up early in the morning, Monday morning, she could just ride over to UL and take the test.
Yep.
I get back to Lake Charles Sunday, jump on a plane, fly to Colorado Springs for a sales mission that Monday and Tuesday. And Monday morning, my phone blows up at like 4:30 in the morning in Colorado from my daughter bawling, crying. I'm like, oh, my God, what happened?
Yeah.
Her car wouldn't start.
Oh, no.
And she's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I got to be there in an hour, this and that. So I'm like, and I was with Carl
Danny.
Tubes from Lafayette CVC. So I'm like, I can't call Carl. So I called Danny. Danny's in a dentist chair getting his teeth cleaned.
At
he's
4:30 in the morning?
Well, it was Colorado time.
Oh,
when
yeah,
she
yeah,
called
okay,
me.
okay,
And it was,
okay.
I waited a little while. She had a little time. She was just
yeah.
panicky. She was
Yeah.
trying to go get coffee or something. So
Yeah.
I gave it a little time, and he's sitting in the dentist chair, and he answers from,
He answered the phone. That's
So,
awesome.
I was like, man, I said, I'm in a bind. I told him what happened, this and that. He's like, I'll be there in 20 minutes. He said, I'm getting my teeth cleaned right now. I'll be there in 20 minutes. So I connected him via text. He went and picked Zoe up and brought her to UL, picked her back up, brought her back, got a new battery in her car, the whole 9 yards, got her back to Lake Charles. And, my son, when Zane was little, I sent him over here for a week for Danny's camp, stuff like that. So Danny's world-class, man. I mean, he's
it's
he's
funny
awesome, so.
you say that, and it's very true. And I've had that experience, not that exact experience, but if you ever needed something, like he knows the guy.
Oh, absolutely. And that was my thought when I called him. I'm like, I don't expect him to like
Get
leave
out the
school
chair, right?
or
Yeah,
get out of the
right.
chair or whatever. But
Yeah.
I knew he knew somebody, and he was just like, I got it. Don't worry about it. You know.
Yeah,
So.
He's a good person to know, and he can always. He seems
Going
like
to be the mayor of Lafayette one day.
right, right. But he might not want to be. He doesn't have to be. That's the.
He already is, and he doesn't have the title.
Exactly. Right.
The Godfather, as I call him.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. That's actually what I said. I used to say, if you need an interview with somebody, you call him, and he'll know the guy you're supposed to get in touch with.
Definitely.
He'll guide you the right way.
Absolutely.
I always had good vibes with that.
Yeah.
And good relationship with him as well. So when we look at the future, obviously you were talking about the future of Lake Charles,
Right.
With regards to sports and what's happening with the sports authority there in Lake Charles. What's on the horizon for you guys? Y'all got. I'm sure y'all got some plans, huh?
Yeah, we had big plans. So, I mean, just this month alone, we finish up with March Madness on Saturday. Get a couple days to take a deep breath, and then Friday, the boys and girls high school all-stars come rolling into town. They'll compete Saturday, and they leave. And as they're literally walking out the door, we have 24 teams rolling in for the National Junior College Division I Women's Basketball National Championships.
Oh, wow.
So that'll also be held at Townsley Law Arena along with the All-Star Game. And so we run right back into it. We get about 3 or 4 days to exhale, and then we're right back in the thick of it.
So, I mean, just getting all those things. I mean, you must be like nonstop searching for things to add to the resume and to the repertoire. Right? We can host this, we can host that.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, we hosted a gymnastics meet the weekend after Mardi Gras, the weekend of like February 20th, 21st. 800 competitors from all over the South. First time we've ever really held a gymnastics event of that magnitude. At the same time that was going on, we had the Louisiana Swimming Short Course Swim Meet going on in Sulphur with over 600 swimmers. And in conjunction with that and our youth baseball and softball going on, we also had 200 boats in the Calcasieu River for the high school bass fishing tournament. So it was
a lot happening.
There's
always, no way you could have done that with 1-2 people.
No way.
Yeah.
No way. I can't thank our team enough for the work they put in, their dedication. You know, we just wrapped up Saturday. We held the inaugural Marucci First Pitch Classic powered by 2D Sports. So we had high school baseball team. St. Thomas More was in that. We had Barb Sulphur, Sam Houston, Kelly out of Beaumont. We had Kingwood out of Texas, one of the top teams in the state of Texas. Austin, Westlake, Grapevine, another top team out of Texas. Sapulpa, Oklahoma. St. John Newman out of Naples, Florida. And True North Classical out of Miami.
Where did they play that? At McNeese?
So we played at Barb, Sam Houston, and Sulphur.
Okay.
And we played for a true champion. So the Final Four came down. We had pool play on Thursday. From there, we broke it into bracket play in different groups based on how they performed in pool, and 3 of the 4 were Sulphur, Sam Houston, and Barb. Barb beating Sulphur in the championship game.
Wow!
And Sam Houston getting beat by Grapevine in the consolation game.
Oh,
so,
gotcha.
So just a phenomenal weekend of baseball. I mean, with teams like I said from all over, and looking to expand that event, next year to 16 teams instead of 12. And then I talked about junior college. They roll out of town on a Tuesday, and that Wednesday of Easter week, we have the American Junior Golf Association coming in town for Easter weekend. They start on Wednesday, and they crown 2 champions on Sunday.
Dude, take a breath already.
I know.
Easter's supposed to relax, man. I know.
Man, I'll go find my Easter eggs in the morning and then go out there and watch some great junior golf, man. Yeah. So it's fun. The diversity is phenomenal, and it's grown over the years. When I first started, we were heavy baseball, softball, with one small and one medium-sized Pro-Am tournament and Tournament of the Stars, which I know you covered several times.
Yes.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar came to town.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that was
Thank
cool.
you for that, by the way.
Y'all look like twins in that picture.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
So. He's just a little bit taller than you.
Hello, Mr. Jabbar.
But I think back to when that event was happening. Tournament of Stars no longer happens. It's now a golf tournament. Gotcha. They still bring in some big names and things like that. But to think about where we came from in the sports tourism realm to where we are today, this year, 2026, will be the largest sports tourism year we've ever had. And it's heck, just in the first 4 months of the year are more than what some places do in an entire year.
Right, right, sure.
Heck, just the month of March alone for us is probably more than some areas do. It's been a tremendous opportunity to be able to lead that team at the Sports Authority and under the direction of Kyle Edmiston of Visit Lake Charles, who's been a phenomenal leader for us and truly believed in what we can do and in sports tourism. I can't say enough about his mentorship and guidance to getting us to where we are today.
Gotcha, man. That sounds awesome. Y'all are busy. Y'all, you're making me tired just saying all that stuff. Look, we can take a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up the show. It's been a great blast to have you, and always a pleasure to talk to you. We'll be back on Sports Chat. Don't go away. More after this.
Sports Chat with George Faust.
Welcome back to Sports Chat. We are talking with Eric Zartler. He is the executive director of the Lake Charles Regional Sports Authority. Spent the past 45 minutes or so just cutting up, man. That's all we do. Back in the day, we used to just cut up. It was just it would be like, hey, let's go shoot some high school football. All right, let's go cut up first or after. Or
That's right.
Those
were the days.
Those were the days, right? Yeah. But seriously, though, I mean, you've done a phenomenal job. When did you leave TV in general? Like, because you left KPLC and then you went to
I went to Fox.
Fox. Now they own by the same company, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much. So I left and went to Fox and was there until 2004. 2004 when they shut down news.
Gotcha.
Did a little freelance stuff, doing the coach's show for McNeese football, McNeese basketball, stuff like that. Had a sports talk radio show in Lake Charles for a little while.
That's what I'm talking about.
And I was like, I need to pay bills. So,
yeah.
Ended up getting
Sports is fun, right?
Yeah,
Until you realize you got at the end of the month you run out of money.
That's right. Yeah. Worked for the Louisiana Swashbucklers for a while. Was the voice of the Swashbucklers and their media and public relations director through some really good years there. And then again, was like, I need to make some money. So.
Right. I wanted to ask you about that because when I was there, they had the Lake Charles Land Sharks, the SIFL.
That's right.
The Southern Indoor Football League.
It went through every acronym under the sun. Every year it changed.
Right. Well, it's funny because I remember here in Lafayette, they were supposed to have Arena 2.
Right.
Was supposed to come just a couple years ago.
That's right, the Voodoo.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were supposed to come to Lake Charles and then ended up coming here. That's
a whole nother issue.
Yeah.
That I got the backstory. So
yeah,
it's just what a crazy time. But it's really interesting that it keeps popping up that they had the Land Sharks and then the Swashbucklers. They had the hockey team for a long time.
Ice Pirates.
The Ice Pirates when I first got to Lake Charles.
Yeah.
And hockey was huge down here.
Absolutely.
In South Louisiana. It exploded with the ice skaters in Lafayette, and man, when you draw 11,000 people to a hockey match in South Louisiana, everybody takes notice.
Absolutely. We still got a couple guys running around Lake Charles that were ice skaters. In fact, one of them frequents Lafayette. Owen Galt's dad, Scott, baseball player at UL.
Okay,
his dad was a goalie for the Ice Pirates back in the day. Fell in love, married a girl from Lake Charles, and
the rest is history.
to get out of there. So
well, Louis Dumont, who played, he's an ECHL Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
His son just graduated from STM and he plays music, and his son Jacques, and so but Louis is still around. He always get texts because I used to play in the Ice Skaters golf tournament.
Oh yeah,
and They like threw a fake snake at me, and I jumped around. It was crazy.
I'd have loved to see that.
Yeah. Oh, I got the video. I'll show it to you. I'm not ashamed. It's not like I did anything crazy. I didn't fall on my head, break my neck, or anything.
There you go. Jumped around and squealed like a girl.
Exactly. So. What? Right. Well, Eric, dude, it's been a phenomenal treat to have you sit there here and chat with you a little bit. I'm always so glad when I get to talk to you, and it brings me back to a time where I was a little bit younger and.
Less
gray for sure, but I wasn't as knowledgeable as I am now. But I did have a lot more fun, I think. But it is what it is. But it was always a pleasure to see you.
Same here,
thanks so much for spending some time with me.
Definitely.
And best of luck with all the stuff that you guys are doing. I mean, there's a ton of it. And so keep working hard. I know you will.
Yes, sir.
And always a pleasure, man.
Same here. Appreciate you having me.
All right. That's going to do it for this edition of Sports Chat. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next time right here on Sports Chat.